it's safe to say that you do believe in the afterlife.
Correct, yes. And I do. Growing up, ironically, actually, I grew up pretty religious. I grew up in a Jehovah's Witness household. So like
Uh huh.
anything that I do was obviously like highly like against it.
Yes.
They would always tell me ghosts like do not exist. They're not what you think. They're just demons trying to trick your mind and all of that. But after experimenting, and I say experimenting because we don't know for sure who we're really talking with. It
Right.
could be just demons, or it could be your loved ones. We really don't really know. Like, we don't know. Stuff like that.
See,
Like,
I had the same questions. I mean, I'm a total believer, but at the same time, I'm a skeptic.
right.
So when you see all these videos on TV, paranormal, caught on tape, and all this stuff, some of the things you see, lights turning on or off, or doors opening, closing, a lot of that stuff could be staged just to make a interesting video. But it doesn't mean I don't believe in it. I
Right.
just don't like to. I like to weed out any kind of fake stuff because people, the critics are always, oh, that's fake, oh, that's somebody with a string on a door, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And I growing up, I was always fascinated in one of those I was always fascinated in all those shows. In every episode, you hear things slamming, or or anything in general. Like when people go ghost hunting, they say like, "Oh, you know what? This place isn't haunted because nothing happened," or "I didn't see anything." Well,
Yeah.
guess what? You actually go ghost hunt. It's not like that. It's
Right.
patience. It's actually rare when you actually see something physically, like you know,
Yeah, I've heard it said before that just you can go out on 5 hunts and you might not get anything. You might see
right?
one thing, but you're not always going to capture something. And
Yeah,
and that doesn't
exactly.
mean that the place is not haunted, right?
Exactly.
It
There's
just means
days where
for
it's dead, no pun intended, but
yeah,
there's times where it's dead, and other times where it's active. Hey, Laura Sierra, that's actually my last name. Cool.
that's right.
Um, anyways, yeah, there's times where like active places are like not even active at all sometimes. I mean, it could really depend on the time, or you just really got to get lucky, in other words, or you just really got to know how to communicate with them. I mean,
Post that? Do you post that anywhere, or what do you do with that? Are you a part of an actual group, or is this something you just do as a hobby?
both. It's definitely my hobby. However, I did start the group called South Texas Paranormal. I do have a YouTube channel. However, I did not upload that, or I haven't even like gotten to like actually editing to upload that video, just for whatever reason. I don't know, cause I'm real picky with my investigations. Like just cause I do an investigation, that doesn't really necessarily mean I'll upload it. Cause I don't want my viewers to really be bored. Like if there's nothing, I won't
Yeah.
upload it. You know.
Right.
So
Yeah, for real. You don't want somebody just listening to like
nothing, pretty much.
a minute or 2 minutes of nothing, and then okay, I get
Yeah.
it. Joe, that would freak me the hell out. He says one time in Kingsville, I played with the Ouija board. Bad boy. The lit candle started melting sideways. No freak. Or done any investigations? Or have you done the Ouija board?
Yeah, I have. I guess everyone has different experiences and different opinions on it. And from my personal experience is that to me, the Ouija board is just another form of like a type of communication tool. In my personal opinion, I see it as no different as using the spirit box, because when you're using the spirit box, it's just another way for you of like opening yourself up to the spirit world. And I see it no different as using Ouija board. I mean, yeah, it could be kind of debatable, but that's just the way I see it.
Mm.
Because to me, I've had no really like, it's the same experience for me.
So you said spirit box. What's a spirit box?
It's just a device that sweeps through frequencies,
Okay,
and
so it's kind of like okay, so that's like the live version of
right, you
EVP
can hear it in
instead of
real time,
recording
like
it.
actual, yeah, not like EVPs. You can actually hear it in real time, but you would want to record it, because sometimes you can't even hear some of them, because it depends on the how low they're speaking.
Right.
So yeah.
And then I hear some of them. Oh, I don't know. I guess through one of those boxes you do, because when you record EVP like on tape or something, you don't necessarily hear it. Even you could be there live with it and you won't hear it,
Right.
but you'll hear it later on the
Yeah.
playback.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
with that box you're talking about, you actually do hear it
If
if
it's loud
something comes
enough,
up.
yeah. If
Yeah.
it's loud enough, you can hear it, yeah. And I've
Yeah.
gotten pretty funny, messed up things on it. Just regular replies. I've also heard like growls and just really
Oh
like
man.
demonic sounding things. And I've also like funny type things, I guess. There was this one investigation we did in Harlingen.
Uh,
Um, one of the spirits, and that this is how you know it's a valley spirit, because they literally said, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but
yeah,
it
you
just
can
said,
go ahead.
it just
Say
said,
whatever you want.
it said "se la come," right? And my friend
Yeah.
was like, my team member was like, dude, did it just say "te la come"? I'm like, yeah, it did. I actually have that on one of my videos on my channel. It's near the end.
Oh man.
But yeah, that's not the. It actually told me twice, and I was thinking, and it was it was in Harlingen as well. It was a clinic, a haunted old clinic in Harlingen. It was a totally different location, and I heard it again, and I was thinking, is that the same fucking spirit like
Yeah.
telling me that? Like, I guess they really
Oh
don't like
man.
me or something. I don't know.
Oh man, that's awesome. South Texas Paranormal, what's up? Yes, religion will start a war in the comments. You know, I don't know if it'll start it on this particular night. I
Yeah,
would
that's
hope
my
not.
channel actually.
That's awesome. Yeah, I would hope that.
Usually it does. Like anything religion,
Oh,
some
yeah,
people like
for sure.
yeah,
I would just think that on this kind of conversation that it may not.
right.
But who knows? Lucy, it's weird. I always hear someone calling my name. That's the one thing I get a lot, but it's not an actual. Only one time I've heard somebody like yell in my ear, "Hey!" And other than that, I hear it in my head, but I don't physically hear it.
Right. You
Somebody's going,
know,
"Yo, hey,
I hear that. It's probably just a dream state, because there's times where I hear that and I'm like falling asleep. And I just hear, well, it's because I'm a junior. So my family calls me Junior.
yeah."
I just hear like Junior real loud. And I'm home alone, or like back then when I was younger. But I always just, I'm pretty sure that was just always a dream state, you know. But I don't know if you ever like hear that when you're like going to sleep.
Yeah, actually, now that you mention it, one time I remember just kind of falling asleep watching the TV, and that's when I heard the "hey" in my ear,
Yeah.
like there was someone was trying to keep me awake or something.
Yeah, there's
That's what I
definitely,
got out of it.
I've heard a lot of those things like during investigations, like of just like breathing, or actually, you know what, speaking of that, the reason why, I mean, growing up when I was little, I've always liked, paranormal things. Don't matter
Yeah.
what it was. But well, actually I didn't really start the whole paranormal thing, like the group and actually going out there and actually start doing investigations, was actually in April or May 2017. But what really got me into believing spirits, I was always open minded about it, but my first personal experience was I don't know if you remember, but do you remember when that girl that got murdered and stabbed in PSG North back in 2004?
Yeah, I think I do
Raiders?
recall that.
Okay, well, I went to that same high school. Um, and I was a senior at the time. She was murdered when I was in 6th grade, But so when I was a senior, I had this class that, I couldn't get signal in it, right? So I had to actually walk out and go near the front of the hallway just to get a fucking bar to text.
Yeah.
And this was in between class, so everyone was inside class, and I was completely alone. And when I was like barely gonna open the door, and okay, because this was near, she got murdered near the auditorium area, and this classroom was near the auditorium, that in the back, like near the backstage of the auditorium. So as I was nearing the exit or the entrance, all I felt and heard was just a breath, like like that in the back of my neck, and then once I felt that, I just felt like electricity or static down my spine. But I heard the voice of like a breath, and I felt it, and I know what it was like. I mean, it didn't cross my mind that it was her, but I just felt something.
Yeah.
Like, and since then, that's when I pretty much like always been like a firm believer at that point, because I mean, I always was open-minded, but that was like kind of like my first experience. Personally, was never really a believer of that. I always thought like, how could people really actually do all that? But ironically, I actually have someone in my team that does all that, and even then, when he was on my team going to our investigations, I was still skeptical about that.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually until like really that Edinburgh house. I mean, no, like, yeah, before he would tell me things that were like spot on, but this one like truly convinced me, because he automatically brought up a lot of stuff that was like so personal, that like these people were strangers. Like, how would he know? Like, even stuff about the house. Like, this is our first time going, and he was like, well, first off, I'm gonna say that that dude's wife, he was like, did you have any miscarriages? Like, you had a few, right? She's like, yeah, like I did. And then also we went to the backyard of the house, and he was like, man, I feel something really like strange in a specific spot in the back yard. And he's like, there was like something here, like someone, like, or I don't know what he said. And the dude was like, yeah, like actually when we bought the property, there was actually a human limb, like a human bone or something, like in the backyard, like in the ground. And like it was actually like, authorities had to come and investigate all that shit. Like,
No way.
yeah. And I was like, dude, how did you even know that? Like, that's what made me like believe, like, at least him, like, or I guess in general, like the whole medium thing. I was never really truly a believer, but I mean, I guess after that, it kind of made me believe like people can do that, because how would he know that?
See, the one thing that was freaking me out right now is that the connection, I don't know, this music just started. There's a house on 18th and Shunier. Is that up in Edinburgh? Isabel, was it that one? Oh, she's asking if that's the one up on 18th and Shunier. I guess she's asking that.
I know exactly what house she's talking about. I know exactly what house she's talking about. Me and a few of my members are actually talking about it, because I've seen posts about it, and I actually kind of want to get into contact with whoever owns it, because from what I can see, because there's times where I've passed by it, it looks like no one is living there. Like, the lights are always on, but it looks vacant. Like, it looks, no one is there. Like, you look through the window and it's just empty. No cars, nothing. Like,
Yeah.
I really want to get into touch with whoever owns it. I'm like, I'm gonna tell the owner, like, hey, like, people talk about this specific house, right?
Just go up there and just go up there and knock on the door, man.
It's like, are you aware that people claim that this shit is really haunted?
Just go up there and knock on the door.
Yeah, I mean, because the worst thing they can say is no, and who knows, maybe they will. Well, because the legend has allegedly, I really don't know. I've heard that people move into that house and they don't last. Like, they move out for whatever reason. I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, no one's ever living there. I guess, I kind of got to do more things about protection, because I never, like, really cared about that. Like, I don't do prayers. I don't do sages before this and that investigations. You know what? They never really affect my daily life. They don't haunt me during the day, or, if I were to get, followed or whatever. But the times I do feel affected is when I'm sleeping. And it happens not a lot, but occasionally. Like, for instance, my most recent one was about last month. I had a dream where I was just with one of my friends, and we were just chilling there, right? And then all of a sudden, I just grabbed my friend by his shoulders, right? And I started shaking him. And I was just saying, "It's the demon, it's the demon," like real, like aggressively, like what the. I woke up like, what the, why the fuck would I dream that? You know?
Yeah.
It sounds funny, but I woke up like, what the fuck? Dude? And not only that, okay, since we're on the topic of dreams, before that, I've had this dream so many times. Same dream. I've dreamt of this scenario so many times. It's me using the spirit box, and coming out through the spirit box, it's the same thing. Satan, 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 over and over and over again. But each time it says Satan, it gets more aggressive. And that's it. That's literally my own that dream. Like it's literally just like a
Just
quick
like
dream.
that.
Yeah, just real quick. But other than that, I mean, I haven't really thought I don't get affected in my daily life, which I'm glad. But I guess I could practice more safety precautions, whatever.
Victoria, there's a YouTuber called Huff Paranormal. He has his own spirit box and is very respectful to the spirits.
Yeah, the Wonder Box. Actually, I know of Huff Paranormal. He has a pretty cool channel. I like his older videos, a lot when he used like those old Joe's boxes and all that. It's pretty cool.
Betty Rubble, my old school I worked at, I told my students to stay quiet and listen to the ghost of the school name. I can say it. Suddenly a big bang happened and scared my students. Turned out the teacher next door slammed the door. Ha ha, yeah. That's way to creep the kids out, Betty Rubble. Yeah, so many stories about that house. Yep, that's the one. Manny, I was freaked out. They move out quickly. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how the landlords handle something like that. If they know the house is haunted, or even, I don't know, maybe they don't believe.
Yeah, I
Like,
can.
can't
I'm
imagine they
assuming.
would give you your deposit back, or how, I don't know how any of that works.
Yeah, these
Um,
ghosts are not letting the landlord have a stable income. I
right.
guess.
So there's this story of this lady in Chicago. She passed away. Her name is her name was Mary, and this is on the south side, and there's a road Resurrection. It's actually at Cermak. The cemetery is Resurrection Cemetery, and she got hit by a car and she was killed in that area. Now there have been sightings. People have actually given her a ride from one end of the block to the other end of the cemetery, and they swear she's in the car. They're having a conversation, and when they stop for her to get out, the guy turns and it's just gone. She's gone, and police officers have given her a ride. So these are like legitimate
Oh
stories.
yeah,
I
heard
believe
of
them to
that.
be true anyway. And so they named her Resurrection Mary. And they say at any time you can go out there at night. At nighttime in the dark is usually when it happens.
Yeah, there's a lot of like scenarios of that, like different versions. There's like also I don't know if you've heard about it, the Lady in White and Doolittle and in Edinburgh
Mm,
and all that. And
no.
it's kind of like the same concept, but they just see her like on the side of the road and stuff like that.
Yeah, see, I think if that happened, if I gave somebody a ride or interacted with somebody, you're talking to them, and it seems like flesh and bone, and you're just having a conversation, then to find out that oh no, that guy died 20 years ago or
First of
whatever. It's
all,
like,
have you seen how sketchy Doolittle Road is? If anyone asks for any type of ride, I'm like, hell no. Hell
I know,
no.
I don't. Yeah, no, I'm here in Brownsville. I have no idea of anything about Edinburgh
Right.
or that whole area up there.
Yeah, I hardly know of Brownsville as well. I
Is
did.
that a sketchy area up there?
Yeah. It pretty much is. It's like the outskirts of Edinburgh. Like, who's asking for a ride out in the outskirts? Like, hell no.
Oh, Victoria, my grandma who passed away a few years ago said a lady with white hair came up to her and told her her mobile home, along with her other mobile home, told her they sit on cemetery ground. Oh man, yeah. See, this is a whole other thing where a lot of activity happens is on what they call sacred ground.
Yeah.
Whether it's just a cemetery, there used to be a cemetery, or where like native Indians on native ground, this stuff happens a lot.
Yeah, speaking of that, actually, in that Edinburgh house I brought up earlier, it was supposedly it was like an old cemetery or something. That supposedly the
See,
whole neighborhood is like experiencing the same shit.
see,
That's what I've heard.
see, and that makes me wonder. And the Native Americans believe when you disturb a sleeping, what they call sleeping, or means arresting people who have passed away, and you disturb by making noise or construction and digging and all that stuff, that you piss them off, and then that's when things start happening because they're, I don't know, they're kind of, I guess you can say they're haunting you, right?
Right.
Because you disturb someone who a people that once they pass, you just leave them alone. Don't do not disturb. And
Yeah.
that's the other reason why I have not engaged in EVP activity, because as much as I'm a man's man and manly and all this stuff, that's the kind of thing you can't control once it starts.
Yeah. It never
You
really
can't just say
bothered
okay.
me. That's one thing that really never like. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's times where I definitely do get freaked out, but I enjoy doing it. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I know I definitely would, but it's something in the back of my mind is like, just don't, don't do that yet. We used to rent some land out in Travis Road and hear a girl screaming for help.
I apologize for. Give me like a few seconds, real quick. Actually, when I come back, I'm gonna show the clip from PSG North. I actually
Oh,
have it on my
okay.
phone. Yeah, just give me
Okay,
one
well,
moment.
let's hear it. Let's see. Turns out a girl was murdered from a local high school and was left for dead across the street from us. Creepy. Nadia, who here like me has experienced many close coincidences and brushes with accidents like me. It's as if by half a minute, split second, if I chose to do something, it could have been hurt or nearly dead. Yeah, those kind of things. People always say, "Well, you got a guardian angel." That's what they come out with, and that's possible. Recurring dreams of big bad dreams of the house or land. It sucks to have that on in dreams. Isabel, VT was talking about our dearly departed Jerk. Yep. And her radio started making white noise and her device started chiming uncontrolled. No, wait, is that on video? Okay. That's something I'd want to check out. Do you think it's legit? Because you know how she can be, right? Isabel, are you a fan of hers? Are you because I know sometimes when this discussion comes up, that's like a just like the religion holy wars. The same kind of thing can happen when it comes to this Vanessa. So, what is your what? Whose side are you on when it comes to all that? Hey, Lynn, welcome. Nice to see you. I believe in guardian angels. So do I. I definitely do. Definitely do. Um, I think the angels or spirits, uh, can they cause harm or fear? Yes, but I think also I can that they can help or prevent things, or you got the little voice that says, "No, don't leave yet. You got to do this." So instead of leaving at 11, you leave at 11:30. Then you find out there was some kind of huge accident or fire or whatever.
All right,
That
I'm back. Sorry
normally
about
you
that.
would have been there. That normally you would have been there, but because something in your head said, "Don't leave yet," or "Don't turn this way, go that way," and then you avoided some kind of catastrophe or something. Not a fan of Vanessa. Okay, so okay, and that's fine. And I'm interested. If you got to send me a link to that, and I'll check that out. Check out this comment. I don't know if you know who Vanessa Tijerina is, but there was somebody who passed away, and she said her radio started making white noise, and her device started chiming uncontrollably, and she freaked out. And hopefully, this is caught on video because
You know what? Speaking of that, we were. I was with a friend whose friend's dad. We were at a friend's house, and his dad had like committed suicide in that household. Actually outside in the tree. But anyways, and we were jamming out, like we were playing beer pong and stuff like that, just to get his mind off, all that stuff. And he he had this like big speaker. It's pretty much a big speaker, like the ones where like with the lights you could do karaoke and all that. It was just a big loudspeaker. And when we were listening to music, all of a sudden like white noise came out, and then like a voice just came through, kind of like a spirit box. Excuse me, kind of like a spirit box. Exactly, like I guess he tapped into it somehow, or something. It was, you could tell, it was not radio. First of all, it was connected through Bluetooth. Like it was not radio signal.
Yeah.
Since I use a spirit box, because pretty much like spirit box is like the same thing. Like any like spirit type boxes are pretty much kind of like similar to radio boxes.
Yeah.
They use like the same frequencies and all that. However, I know how they sound when something comes through. So when I heard the voice come through,
Yeah.
like I knew right away it was something. Like it had to have been something or someone tapping into it, like a spirit. Like it just sounded real weird, and me and my friend just looked at each other like, you heard that, right? Like, but we don't want to say anything to like the guy, like.
Right.
But yeah, like that was the only time that I really like heard something like tap into like just a random speaker that wasn't a spirit box. Like,
Fausto says, I used to live in front of a resaca growing up. One night my uncle was dropping me off. His lights were facing the resaca. We saw a lady in white walking down into the water. He shut off his lights and turned them back on. She was gone. See? Nope. Yeah, that's... See, that's the kind of thing. I hear a lot of that, and it's...
I wonder why it's always like those lady in white type of ordeals. Like, why is it always just like a lady in white usually? Like, I wonder what the whole concept of that is.
Because they say... Now, when I say they say, anytime you talk to these... or listen to these discussions, paranormal and even religious people, they say that you see some, when you do see them, they always appear to you when they were at their optimum youthful age.
Yeah.
So maybe it could be somebody in their 20s, or
right.
That usually
Makes
that
sense.
happens. And you don't see them if if they had an amputation or if they had a scar. You don't see
Right.
any of that. You just see them like
In their prime, pretty much.
kind of like in their prime. So yeah, that's, I don't know why does that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I've always wondered that. Yeah.
And when you think about it back then, I want to say back then, if you're talking South Texas, many moons ago, white was something people wore because it's so hot down here.
That's very true.
And white gowns, or the men wore white pants. I'm not saying like dressy pants, but white tops, because it was always hot, so it was very customary. It was very common to see people
And
wearing white.
AC wasn't very common like in the old days here, so just
Time
imagine how
traveler,
hot it was.
right? I once went to that cemetery by Valley Regional. Oh yeah, well, okay, which in Brownsville?
Where is Valley Regional?
Well, we got a Valley Regional in Brownsville and a Valley Regional in Harlingen. I don't think there's one cemetery by the one in Harlingen, so I'm going to assume in Brownsville, just on Alton Glore, just off the expressway. And I think right across the street, around the corner, there's a cemetery, right? Or somewhere across the street, almost directly across the street from the hospital, there's a cemetery. I parked my car and started to hear a moan. I tried to start my car, but it didn't work. Fog approached. Oh, man. Fog approached, and I was able to make it out. Scary experience. Holy crap. See, especially when you're not expecting fog, like the fog just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I've heard moans, dude, in my investigations a few times. At the San Juan Hotel and then at the clinic. It was really weird because
The
at
San
first...
Juan Hotel?
Yeah, in San Juan.
is that what is the status of that? Did they ever start to fix it up or do anything with it?
No, it's run down to shit.
Because
It's a
I knew the guy, the gentleman who purchased it, his group. He's an attorney.
Yeah, he purchased it for like what, 2 million or something. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
something like that. And they were gonna bring it back up to life, and
But the city didn't let him. I think that's what I've
yes,
heard.
there was some complication and disappointing. That would have been pretty neat.
I mean, if you kind of, I mean, it's really run down bad. Like by the looks of it, if you really want to restore it, you literally had to just like tear it down and just like,
Yeah,
cause
because that's like in ruins.
exactly
I mean,
at
yeah,
that,
it's pretty bad.
yeah.
And the last time I saw this was back in 2004, and even then it was run down. It was already. I'm
Like,
like,
did
they
you
gotta
go
knock this
inside?
thing. Oh no, I just drove by, and
You
it was
see inside, like it's like literally like a lost cause. Honestly, especially now that more people go in and really mess things up. Like
hmm.
it's kind of a lost cause, honestly. Like, yeah, it's just best to leave it like the way it is, I guess. Unless they really want to. I don't know. I guess maybe.
I understand the concept of it, trying to revive an old at one time. Maybe it was a cool hotel at the time or something, and then to bring it back. I don't know. Sometimes you just gotta leave it, just let it go. Or I wonder what happened with that. Hey, you know what? I want to play an EVP before we keep going on the comments here.
Go for it.
This is, I'm sure you are aware of who Art Bell was.
Yeah, Art Bell. Yeah.
Yeah, he passed away a couple of years ago, and he used to have a
No way.
paranormal. Yeah, he passed away.
Oh wow.
I won't say finally, but he passed away. He had some health issues, and he passed away. But every night, he had a show called Coast to Coast AM,
Yeah.
and it would play from, I don't know, 9 or 10 o'clock at night. In some places, 11 o'clock at night, up until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and just all kind of UFO talk,
Yeah.
aliens, ghost stories, EVPs,
Yeah, I listened
Bigfoot.
to him on the Paranormal Radio app actually. I don't
Yeah,
know if
so
you
do
ever.
I still listen to all the old recordings.
Yeah, Clyde
So
Lewis and them. You know
yep,
Clyde Lewis, Ground
yep,
Zero.
yeah.
Yeah, I've had a few, no, like three, but my like main one that I will never forget. Which, okay, because this was like I was 18. It was literally Thanksgiving night in 2011. 2011 Thanksgiving night, I was at a friend's house, and this wasn't far. At the time he lived next to Liberty Middle School, which there's like a football field, and right next to the football field there was houses, and the football field was just open. Like it's a big field. It's just really dark, and
Yeah.
we were just walking the field, just bored, whatever. Um, I was actually on my phone. I didn't even notice it. My friend, it was funny because he was just like, "Hey, way UFO way," the valley talk.
Nice. Yeah, yeah.
And he was just like, "Look at UFO." I looked up, and what I saw, of course, because UFO just means unidentified flying object. Excuse me. Because it didn't even look like a freaking spacecraft of any or whatever, like what you like a flying saucer. It didn't look anything like that. When I looked up, I just saw like these two like really like fluorescent balls of light, which they were illuminating its own light source. Like it was just its own balls of energy, like two balls of energy, just in an 8 formation. Like I'm not even kidding you. Like literally, like orbiting each other in an 8 formation, like that, hovering in the sky, like low. Like I want to say at least like 2 palm trees high, like at the most, which is pretty low.
Oh, low, real
like
low, yeah.
like low. Silence is like hell. Like silence. Like if you didn't see it, you wouldn't even have known it was there. I didn't even know. Like my friend just happened to see it, and this was just a matter of seconds. Like I just when he said that, look at UFO, I looked up, I see it hovering each other, and then it separated, and then it came back together, and then when it came back together, it just like in a flash, like boom, straight back up into the sky, like gone.
Yeah.
And my mind I was freaking, like I was like boom, I was freaking, like mind blown, like what was that?
Yeah.
And like to this day, I've never seen anything like that. I have seen questionable things in the sky, like those one time I was in downtown McAllen during the day. My sister was shopping, and I was like, I'll stay in the fucking car. I'm not gonna get down. And then I was just chilling there, and I look up in the sky, and I see like this spherical shape, like a metallic. You know, speaking of metallic spherical things, like that's not the first time I've seen that. I've seen that twice, but the first time I saw it, it was in downtown McAllen. I saw it hovering, just like this, like pretend it's just up there in the sky, but you just see like a spherical shape, a metallic shape, just in a big circle, just like that, like in a big circle, over and over and over and over again. That was really weird. And then the other time I saw that, it was actually there at it was in my sister's apartment, actually. Like they were having a barbecue. I went over, and we were outside, and for whatever reason we were just looking at this, because my sister likes stargazing and all that, so we just so happened to be like looking at the sky, and I saw the same thing, but this time it was just hovering, like just the same shape, same thing. It looked like a steel, like metallic ball of some sort. Yeah. Just hovering real slowly just across like that. I mean, I don't know what that could have been, but I mean, it looked really sus to me.
So safe to say you believe in UFOs?
I believe in UFOs. The whole alien debate, that is a whole different, like, you know, discussion. I mean, then again, like everyone says, we're not. Well, what most people say, like we're not the only, you know, planet out there in the galaxy. The galaxy is infinite, of course. I mean, I'm pretty sure there might be something out there. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, I think I think it's wrong to think that we're the only living things in this ginormous galaxy or space or whatever you want to call it. You know, it's been said that they go to a beach and you take 1 grain of sand, 1 grain, that's our galaxy. And for that, you take those beaches with that 1 grain of sand, each grain of sand is a galaxy. And they say, I don't know how they know this or how they figure this crap out, but for that beach, there's a million other beaches with a gazillion number of galaxies all over the place that we don't even know about.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same concept. Only assuming.
So how can it be that we're the only people, the only living things?
Right? Like, how is it that out of all, if it's true that there are infinite galaxies and planets, it just so happens in our only galaxy and this only planet that can sustain life. Like, I doubt it.
No, yeah.
We just don't have the capability of just seeing what's out there yet, I'm assuming. Unless they do, but they won't tell us. That's like a total another topic.
That's a very good possibility. At this point, I do believe that there's a lot. You know what? And I'm not even going to say it's the government that knows, because a lot of people in the government are not even privy to this information.
Right.
Even the president. If he can go down and say, yeah, I want to know what's going on with this, and they'll tell him to go pound sand. Like, nope. He doesn't even have that level of clearance.
Yeah. It's literally like
very sensitive stuff. And it's I think there's so much that they're hiding. I think what happened in Roswell did happen.
Like in the late 40s, I think. Or
Roswell, the alien crash, and you know, the word. You guys should watch that documentary called Unacknowledged. It's on. Watch this.
1995, Brownsville, Texas, 4:30 a.m.
Oh wow!
Guadalupe Cantu was delivering newspapers. Suddenly, his brother-in-law tells him to stop.
What would you do if you saw this? Obviously, there's a reenactment.
On a telephone pole just off the road in front of their car sits a giant bird.
I saw really like a giant ancient vulture or eagle some predator bird.
Yeah.
Most of it was black. It looked like it had stooped up shoulders, real high. I saw it turning this way, and it had a curved beak.
Because the bird is sitting on the pole, Guadalupe believes he can make an approximate estimate of the creature's size.
What'd you do? You saw that thing?
And this bird stood about 8 feet tall, more or less, about 1/3 the size of a telephone pole. It had an enormous wingspan, anywhere from 15 to 25 feet. You take like a condor or the eagles that you see in flight. This bird's about 5 times bigger than that.
Guadalupe Cantu identified a bird that
Yeah.
most closely resembles the extinct territory. And if Cantu's sighting isn't easily explained away using perspective, the case of a small boy in Lawndale, Illinois,
There you go.
is even more perplexing.
It had a 15-foot wingspan on it. I mean, it was huge.
Here's the story I was talking about. Illinois, not Pennsylvania. Anyway, so that bird was spotted here in Texas, in Brownsville.
Dude, you know that you say that, yeah, like, I mean, I don't know. I grew up with the old neighbor, and I always thought he was tripping out like this guy because he would smoke weed, you know, and this and that. And this was like a decade ago. And I remember one night he was telling me, because we used to live in this apartment complex when I was younger.
Lynn, I'll put this back up in a second. All right. Okay.
We were neighbors in this old apartment complex when we were a lot younger, and he told me at night, and he's like, I don't know how, because we brought up the subject of just like creepy stuff, whatever, and then like he even said, he was like, man, like one night I was just, you know, smoking out, and I saw like this big bird. I'm like, what?
No.
I was like, are you sure it wasn't an owl or whatever? He's like, I don't know what it was, but I just saw this big bird, and I was thinking, damn, this guy is like, he's smoking too much or something. But I don't know, like, who knows? I don't know what he saw. I mean, come on, like, cause yeah, like, come on, weed doesn't like make you hallucinate like that. You know what I mean? I don't know if you ever smoked, but I'm just saying, like,
No, not
weed-
here.
Okay, well, I don't think weed fucking really. I mean, I used to smoke when I was a lot younger, and it never made me trip out like that. I definitely don't smoke now, but back when I did, of course. I mean, to anyone who knows that, I don't think it makes you trip out like that.
If you're talking about marijuana,
Yeah.
I don't think that's
marijuana.
It's not a
of course.
hallucinogen, and
Right.
I've never heard of anybody like seeing things like that.
Right,
The
yeah,
other
yeah.
hard stuff like
No,
acid.
No, yeah, like no, the marijuana. Yeah, I'm just talking about marijuana.
Yeah.
And he would tell me like, yeah, man, I would see this big bird, like it was insane. He would like go on this whole trip telling me how huge it was. I'm like, I don't know, maybe it was just a big owl. I don't know.
That's possible. I mean, the birds that are real big right now are called turkey vultures, and those things, I think they can have up to an 8-foot wingspan, and that's pretty big.
Yeah.
And I see one in flight on a video, and that I mean, you look at it,
Some
flying
owls,
just above the trees.
some owls definitely grow fucking huge though, like they do. So it could have been possible it was that too. I mean, who knows until we really see it ourselves.
Yeah. What do you think about Bigfoot?
Dude, what are your thoughts on duendes?
On the what?
On duendes. You know
On
what those
duendes?
are? Duendes.
Mm-mm.
You don't believe in those?
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
Like in Mexican folklore, kind I guess duendes. I believe they translate to what are the goblins? I think they're kind of like little like devilish little things that just fuck around with people. I guess you never heard of that.
Really? No.
Yeah,
I
it's
have not.
like really popular in Mexican folklore, even like all the way down to Brazil and stuff like that, Argentina, like.
Oh, see, I gotta look into that. No, I hadn't.
Yeah,
heard
there's
that at
many
all.
people here in the valley that claim to like experience them and stuff like that. It's more heavily like towards like Mexican folklore.
Nope. The only thing in Mexican I know about paranormal wise is La Llorona. that spirit. I don't even know if that's a real true thing or not, or is it just a movie thing?
Yeah, uh,
Tres. Ya, güey. Te quedas aquí. Valoran, ya no. Ya, güey. No, sí. Yo voy por eso. Ay, no mames, güey, ya vieron.
Oh crap! I saw that back there.
yeah, it looks weird. Like what the hell?
It's
Yeah,
like it's like right here at the
Yeah.
towards the end of the video. It's like right,
Valoran, ya no. Ya, güey. No, sí.
I can almost see it right there, right behind.
Yeah.
Voy por eso. Ay, no mames, güey, ya vieron.
Whoa! What the heck here? Just one more time. One more
Yeah,
time.
it's like weird.
Yeah,
like
wait.
what the hell? There's like many other videos like that on YouTube, but I think that's like the most famous one. I think.
No, sí. Yo voy por eso. Ay, no mames, güey, ya vieron.
See, and then it's like, what? Why does it end? It's like,
Yeah, that's when it gets kind of questionable. And you're like why does that happen? Unless they're like, who knows, dude? I really don't know.
you see, and that's the other shady thing about even UFOs or even Bigfoot.
Yeah,
You know, some of the
they
footage,
always
and then
end
all of
like
a sudden
right when
just
it gets
cuts.
good. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And it cuts abruptly, and that's what that kind of thing that pisses me off. It's like,
With any of paranormal type videos, like any like even ghost type videos too, people like tend to do the same thing. Well, then again, it's kind of like the real like paranormal community is really like debatable nowadays, because now we have like things like TikTok and a lot of these like YouTube videos blowing up just for making fake ghost videos, and it's just like really not
Yeah.
helping the cause. Like it's
yeah,
really,
no, it's not. I asked Lynn about does her husband creeped out by that. No, he's not freaked out. I've traveled with him over mountains, and I'm eager to see Bigfoot, but nah, I've only seen deer. This is just nonchalant, but doesn't talk about it. He's only shared that with me so far, not even to his mom. It's like, oh, yeah. I mean, you know, there's this taboo where